Hello everyone, welcome to our TJ Comments and Answers channel. I hope you are all doing well. In this video, we will prepare for the book study, Complete Testimony, for the week of April 28th to May 4th. This week, we will study chapter 25, paragraphs 14 to 21. Questions 14 and 15. What did Paul say about the changes he made in his life? Paul explained that his life changed profoundly after receiving the heavenly vision. He did not disobey that vision but went to various cities to preach the message of repentance and return to God. His preaching bore fruit, as the people who accepted his message stopped doing wrong and began to live according to God's will, becoming exemplary citizens who promoted order and respect for the law. Despite the benefits of his preaching, Paul's enemies did not value his work and arrested him in the temple, attempting to kill him. However, Paul continued with his mission, thanks to God's help, preaching to everyone, regardless of their status or position. Additional comments. Repentance as a real and visible change. Paul points out that repentance must be accompanied by works that demonstrate repentance, Acts 26:20. This indicates that genuine repentance is not just an internal act but must be reflected in concrete actions that show a change in life. True conversion is manifested in the transformation of people's behaviors and attitudes. Divine protection amidst persecution. Despite the adversities and the attempted assassination by his enemies, Paul emphasizes that he continues with his mission, thanks to God's help, Acts 26:22. This statement shows how divine intervention gave him strength to persevere in the face of opposition and continue his preaching work, highlighting the importance of faith and trust in divine support during difficulties. Question 16. How can we imitate Paul when speaking about our beliefs before authorities? We can imitate Paul when speaking about our beliefs before authorities by being respectful, clear, and focused on explaining how our faith has helped us become better people. Just like Paul before Agrippa and Festus, we should present our faith calmly, without aggression, and show how the Bible has positively transformed our lives, which could generate a more favorable opinion of us. Additional comments. Respectful defense of faith, in 1 Peter 3:15, we are urged to always be ready to give a defense of our faith, which implies that we must be able to explain our beliefs in a rational and respectful manner. Just as Paul explained his personal change and the positive influence of his faith, we must speak respectfully and without confrontation, presenting our faith as a transformation that has made us better people. The importance of personal testimony. By explaining how the Bible has helped us become better people, we not only defend our beliefs but also present a personal testimony of how our faith impacts our daily life. This, as Paul did before Agrippa, has the power to make others see the value and positivity in our lifestyle, which could open doors for them to listen and reflect on the Christian message. Question 17. How did Festus react to Paul's arguments, and how do many people react today? Festus reacted to Paul's arguments by calling him crazy and suggesting that so much study had made him irrational. Similarly, today many people react negatively to the Christian message, especially those who do not share the faith. They are scandalized and consider those who teach the true biblical doctrine to be fanatics, especially when it comes to topics like the resurrection, which is difficult for many to accept. Additional comments. Rejection of the truth by society, just like Festus, who reacted by calling Paul crazy. Many people today feel uncomfortable or reject Christian teachings, especially those that challenge their worldview. This rejection is not new. Throughout history, ideas that clash with social or scientific norms have often been viewed with skepticism or mockery, as happened with the teaching of the resurrection of the dead. The difficulty of accepting the resurrection, the Christian teaching of the resurrection, is one of the hardest to accept, especially for educated people or those with a secular perspective. Just as Festus could not understand Paul's message, many people today struggle with concepts that do not align with their rationalist or materialist beliefs. However, this is a challenge that Christians must face with patience and firmness, explaining their faith clearly and showing how it transforms lives. Question 18. What response did Paul give to Festus, and what did Agrippa say afterward? When Festus accused Paul of becoming insane, Paul calmly and firmly responded that he was not crazy but was speaking the truth and sense. He then addressed Agrippa, asking if he believed in the prophets, implying that he already believed in the truth of the Christian message. Agrippa responded that in a little time, Paul would convince him to become a Christian. Although it is unclear whether he said it seriously or in mockery, his response shows that Paul's words made him reflect. Additional comments. Paul's firmness and clarity in the face of opposition. In responding to Festus, Paul remains calm and firm, clarifying that his words are rational and true, Acts 26:25. This stance shows how Christians should defend their faith clearly and without fear, even when facing criticism or mockery. Paul's response was not defensive but an invitation to reflect on the truth of the Christian message. The impact of personal testimony. Agrippa's response, which indicates that in a little time Paul would have convinced him to become a Christian, Acts 26:28, shows the profound impact that personal testimony can have. Although we do not know if Agrippa spoke seriously or not, it is clear that Paul's words made him think deeply about the Christian faith. This moment underscores the power of authentic testimony to provoke serious reflection in listeners, even in those who may initially reject the message. Question 19. What conclusion did Festus and Agrippa come to in Paul's case? Festus and Agrippa concluded that Paul had not committed any crime that would justify his death or imprisonment. Agrippa also commented that Paul could have been released if he had not appealed to Caesar. Both rulers considered Paul innocent, which could have influenced their perspective on Christians, perhaps treating them with more understanding or respect in the future. Additional comments. The impartiality of the rulers, the statement of Festus and Agrippa that Paul had done nothing deserving of death or imprisonment, Acts 26:31, reflects an attitude of impartiality and justice. Despite the accusations against him, both recognized that there was not enough evidence to condemn him. This shows how divine justice, represented by the truth that Paul defended, can prevail even before authorities who do not share the Christian faith. The impact of the appeal to Caesar. Agrippa's observation that Paul could have been released if he had not appealed to Caesar, Acts 26:32, highlights how legal decisions can influence the course of events. Although Paul's appeal to Caesar led to an uncertain fate, this action also showed his courage and confidence that his cause was just, which could have impacted how the rulers and society in general viewed Christians at that time. Question 20. Why was the testimony Paul gave to those rulers worth it? Paul's testimony before the rulers was worth it because, although none of them converted to Christianity, his speech allowed the Christian message to reach sectors of the Roman government that otherwise would not have had access to it. Additionally, his faithfulness and resistance to trials served as encouragement to his brothers in faith, motivating them to remain firm in their own preaching. Additional comments. The expansion of the message in unexpected spheres. By preaching before kings and governors, Paul fulfilled the prophecy in Luke 21:12-13, bringing the Christian message to circles of power where it would not have otherwise reached. Although the rulers did not convert, Paul's testimony may have planted seeds that, over time, could have influenced others. The impact on the Christian community. Paul's faithfulness during trials, as highlighted in Philippians 1:12-14, not only helped spread Christ's message but also inspired other Christians to be brave in their faith. His example of perseverance showed that, although difficulties are inevitable, a faithful Christian testimony can strengthen and motivate the entire community. Question 21. Why is it worth continuing to preach despite trials and opposition? It is worth continuing to preach despite trials and opposition because, like Paul, we can reach people and authorities who otherwise would never hear the Christian message. Additionally, our faithfulness and perseverance can inspire other Christians to be bolder in their faith, motivating them to continue proclaiming God's kingdom with more determination. Additional comments. The reach of testimony through opposition, just like Paul, who preached before authorities like Agrippa and Festus, our perseverance in preaching, even in the face of opposition, can bring the Christian message to places and people who would normally not receive it. Facing challenges with firmness and faith can open doors to new opportunities to share the gospel. Mutual inspiration within the Christian community. Resistance to trials not only strengthens our own faith but also has the power to encourage other believers to remain firm. The faithfulness and courage we show can inspire others to be more determined in their testimony of God's kingdom, creating a multiplying effect within the Christian community. Well, these have been the practical answers on the congregation's book study for this week. I hope it is of great help to you, my dear brothers and sisters. Sending you a big hug, and may Jehovah bless and protect you always.